Hey guys, what's going on? So as you know here, it's no surprise, it's been very dry here in the Northeast, New Jersey as well, and we are finally getting our first proper storm in a very long time. So we go back to um, 7 p.m. on Monday. We got a cyclone over Great Plains. This ended up becoming a blizzard creator, or not really much of a blizzard, more just like snowfall over the northern Great Plains, and we had our bomb cyclone that impacted the West Coast. Now watch what this cyclone does. You see this extended occluded front over here, and this low pressure starting to develop over here over Michigan. Uh, Watch this one into the surface analysis for today. We have that low pressure has departed, it's gone north, and more so we have another low pressure that's basically based off of that system over the Great Lakes. And over here, over Pennsylvania over here, we have another low pressure developing, warm front, cold front easily seen. This is going to undergo cyclogenesis as this moves towards the coast and moves off the coast. And this low pressure is what's bringing us the system to the northeast over here. And the evolution of the cyclone is going to be very complex due to both its parent surface low, which is going to disintegrate over time, but more specifically the upper level surface low, which will be disattached from the surface level lower um, lower low pressure. So obviously, let's just start with the rain quickly. I agree with the WPC on this. I think they're spot on, since it's pretty much their job. We're gonna have the highest rainfall totals closest to the track of the low. So as we're gonna see when we pull up the model runs, the low is gonna track something like this. It's gonna come across here, cyclogenesis off the coast, and it's gonna loop. It's gonna kind of loop back inland, and then it's gonna end up somewhere in New York, whether it's like over here. We really don't know at this time. And then it's gonna loop back offshore through Friday, and then it'll be gone by Saturday. Yeah, so basically, rain amounts close to 3 inches, definitely potentially above three in some areas. Widespread 2 to 3 inches, northern Jersey, northeastern Pennsylvania, uh, Catskills down towards the NJPA border for New York. Yeah, this is definitely beneficial rain for this region as there has not been much rain recently. Honestly, there hasn't been much rain for like over a month, so this is definitely very beneficial as most of these areas are in drought right now. Now let's move on to the prospect of snow. So we are late enough in the season, or if you want to think of the other way, the season has just started for snowfall, I guess. So we're finally at that time of year where we can see snowfall out of these systems. And that's because we're in pretty much a negative NAO pattern. We want to go to the NAO over here. We're quite negative in the NAO. So definitely we have that jet stream set up. We have that cold air that's going to be in place for our snowfall. Now, the evolution of the low pressure is going to be incredibly weird, to be honest. So that'll kind of make this forecast very messy. But let's just look at it. So this is the RAB models 21Z run from today. Um, oh yeah, it is 10:30 Eastern on November 20th as of the time I'm making this. Just for you guys to know the relevancy of this data. So yeah, basically overnight we get rain moving into New Jersey. It's already been in Pennsylvania. And then we start getting cyclogenesis into the early morning hours of Thursday. You can see this low pressure off the course forming. And we get cyclogenesis 994 deepening. And we see this kind of taking this kind of weird erratic path. It's kind of like starting, rather than moving just straight this way, it's kind of starting to loop. And this looping motion, if this would just continue, this looping motion is going to continue, um, especially later into the day on Thursday. It's going to start looping inland, and then towards Thursday night into Friday morning, it will loop inland. It will deepen to its maturity, and then through Friday and into Saturday, it will start filling in. And this is going to be pretty strong low pressure. You can see this, the RAB model is taking this into 982 millibar low pressure, so it's going to be pretty windy with the system as well. Now, if I haven't talked about it yet, but if you look at all the blue over here, that's snow. And the thing is that with this cyclone, with its erratic path, even with that, we're going to have enough cold air advection on the backside to bring snow. However, this cold air advection is going to be, especially in northern Jersey, northern Pennsylvania, those areas kind of be kind of equal marginal cold air advection. So really it's going to be up to elevation. It's going to be highly elevation dependent temperatures being conducive for snowfall. And the second thing is, if you look at where the low pressure is, just to the south and west is where the heaviest precipitation, whether that's rain or snow, where the heaviest precipitation is in Thursday night into Friday early AM hours. So the path of the low pressure is going to be incredibly crucial. That is the number one thing which is causing this forecast to be uncertain, the position of the low pressure. And it's all because of the Fujiwara effect that's going to go through with the upper level low. Because we look at the let's look at 700 millibars where the low pressure is, and also just vertical velocity to prove to you my point with the forcing. Let's move on to around Friday-ish, early AM hours. Yeah, this should be valid. Oh, this does not have the wind with it. Let's pull up the 700 millibar wind first. So we want to look at where that low pressure is actually located in the 700 millibar low in relevance to the surface low. We can see that at our surface low is somewhere over here, right? We can see that. But our 700 millibar low is over here. Over here is where the 700 is. Over here is where the surface is. So we're going to have this Fujiwara effect between levels. And you can see the 700 millibar low kind of consolidates itself over northern Jersey. However, the surface low into Friday night, it's going to loop around this basically. It's going to loop around the 700 millibar one. And then as the cyclone deepens, it'll start to absorb that upper level low pressure into it. But not before, again, just looping over here. This upper level low pressure continues into the 500 millibar as well. So the idea is with the Fujiwara effect is if you have a low pressure, say we had, let's just actually, Command Z. That's not what I want to do. So if you had a low pressure over here, right? This is our surface low pressures over here. Right now we're looking at 700 millibar winds, which are like about 3 kilometers off the surface. And our 700 millibar pressure low is over here. You can see that. You can tell that by the wind barbs, how they change, basically. The wind direction change. So this is going to rotate around this way, while this one is going to rotate around this way. It's just how the physics work when you have two counterclockwise rotating, or in this case, cyclonically rotating vortices next to each other. They rotate cyclonically around each other as well. And that's exactly what's going to happen with our surface low pressure. And that's exactly what's going to complicate this, because there's so many moving parts to the system that it creates a very complex and very uncertain forecast. So you just saw the RAB model's prediction. Basically, the RAB model keeps it further north, kind of. It brings it towards the Albany area for the low pressure, which honestly, for the latest runs we're going to look at in a couple of minutes for the OOZ run, this is actually pretty good scenario for northern Jersey and Pocono Plateau snowfall, because there still is some pretty decent forcing into the late night of Thursday, early morning Friday. And the key is whatever is close to the southwest side of this low as it's looping, they're going to get the heaviest snowfall, and especially in higher terrain. So the RAB model, we just want to pull up the snowfall for the RAB model through Friday 7 p.m. Let's just look at this in model terms, internal model ratio. We can see, again, heaviest snowfall as per Jersey terms is going to be far northwest, and Pennsylvania terms, Pocono Plateau. And obviously, the Catskills, New York, this is going to be proper winter storm. I'm anticipating a foot in any situation. I think there's going to be at least a foot up on Slide Mountain, Hunter Mountain, Devil's Range, Burroughs Range, all of them. There's going to be proper winter conditions up there. So if you're going to be up there, treat this as a proper winter storm. Pocono Plateau, I'm going to show you actually now. Let's just go in and compare the snowfall totals now before getting into individual model runs. The Pocono Plateau could get anywhere from like 6 inches to a foot of snow is what I'm thinking. And that's pretty much what the official forecast lines up with as well. Because, again, the positioning of the low is going to be highly crucial to determine how much snow falls in the Poconos. But still, I'm thinking this should be a proper winter storm for the Poconos. Now, Northwest Jersey, the mountains of Northwest Jersey, I'm thinking the highest ridge, like the Bearfort Mountain towards Green Pond type ridge, that one over there. Here, I can pull that right here. This ridge over here has the best chance for a solid amount of snow, mainly the northern side of that, like Wabayanda and Bearfort Ridge. I'm thinking that area could get almost 6 inches in the right setup, but I'm thinking more like 3 inches towards the higher elevations. By the way, the elevations I plotted here are 800 and above. So 800 feet and above is in red and changing to blue. So I'm thinking this area over here in New Jersey is going to get the most snow. This ridge, the High Point Ridge, obviously is also going to get quite a bit of snow as well. High Point specifically will probably also get a lot of snow, but the rest of this ridge isn't as tall, so that's why I'm thinking this ridge is going to get overall the most snow out of this. And Pocono Plateau, obviously high elevation, low temperatures, good forcing, depending on the path of the low, so that will produce good snow over there as well. All right, let's just actually compare the snowfall totals now. I'm not going to look at global models because we're in too short of a range for them to be beneficial. So let's look at HRRR. The latest run of the HRRR was incredibly low on the snowfall totals in North Jersey and the Pocono Plateau because the low pressure takes such a far north track. I'll show that to you in a minute. And that's why these totals are incredibly low. Even for that northernmost ridge that I talked about, very low. And ARW, same story over there, very low because the track of the low is kind of coming very far north. FV3, honestly, this isn't the most trustworthy model in my books, but again, not as much in North Jersey, but this has a lot more strength when it's coming in here. It doesn't fill up the low as high, as fast, so the low pressure is still able to maintain some strength, and especially later in the day, Friday, into Friday night, it has more snow continuing. NSSL, again, same story as HRRR and HRW, ARW. The MPOS, I'm not even gonna look at that. That's just, I'm like, this is just some eye candy. If you want it, this is not gonna happen. It could happen, but that would be a very low probability scenario. This is just an experimental model. NAM 3 kilometer, much more bullish because it has the forcing of the low rather than the track of the low. The forcing associated with the low is much more spread out, so it's able to get more snow over larger areas. You can see the snow is extending further south than it is in other models, at least the significant snow. Now, we already looked at the RAP model. Now, I just want to pull up the RDPS for a second. This is a clear outlier. You can see it's extending 4 inches all the way down to Trenton. But the thing is that the Canadian models, the RDPS, HRDPS, and the GDPS, they have been consistently outputting high-end snowfall. Well, in this case, high-end for like these areas are like 3 inches. But high-end snowfall for places south of Interstate 78. I honestly am not entirely sure why they've been modeling this. What they've been doing is the low pressure, rather than stalling out and filling in over very far west, they've been keeping it around here, around the north, the border, NY NJPA border, which leads to much longer time for the forcing to sit over this area and produce more snow. I'm not sure why it has not changed to the solution from other models yet, but if it has not changed, definitely something to watch for a potential scenario. RRFS is kind of like in between the NAM 3 kilometer and HRRR. Alright, let's look at the HRRR itself and its prediction. This is going to be kind of like, if you live in North Jersey, this is going to be the scenario that you would want to see if you don't like snow, and the scenario that you do not want to see if you do like snow. And this is a scenario where the low pressure takes a far north track compared to other ones. It basically just like avoids this area, and it also is not as strong. So we want to look at cyclogenesis. Cyclogenesis in the first place is incredibly far west, and it's kind of split between two low pressures before finally consolidating Thursday around 8 p.m. We can see we got snow going in North Jersey, but because this low pressure is so far east to start off with, there's not much forcing. And then after being east, it just goes straight north. It doesn't come in as much west, it just goes north. So again, the forcing is confined to Ulster County, NY, and areas like that, rather than being more focused over North Jersey, Sussex County, and Morris counties. And then basically just avoids this area, just avoids the Poconos, avoids North Jersey. Don't get me wrong here. In all cases, I think the Poconos are getting 6 inches plus, but it's especially avoiding North Jersey because this low pressure is taking such a far north track after starting so far east. And then I think on Friday there will just be some like diurnally driven or just from distant forcing from the low pressure. There will be just some showers or snow showers, but they'll be very, very light. They could be over any area in New Jersey, honestly. Friday, I think pretty much any area in Jersey, pretty much like north of 78 at least, we'll see flakes out of the sky, maybe mixed in with rain at any time during the day between morning and night. It's just that it won't be much of an accumulation on Friday. It's proper, like during the day after the main snowfall event during the night of Thursday. And now let's go to the NAM 3 kilometer, which is a bit better if you are a snow lover. If it would load up. There we go. So the NAM 3 kilometer is having cyclogenesis much closer, not as far east as the HRRR, but then it just moves low pressure way further east, even though it maintains strong forcing. That's maybe more likely because it produces an elongated low pressure. And you can see, even though the forcing is very distant, the forcing is much more stronger, so it still gets to North Jersey. And again, the forcing very strong. It continues into the day, Friday, even just from forcing, not even diurnally driven. If that does happen, that'll just bring much more widespread snowfall, but not like heavy snowfall because the low pressure will be filling in at this time on Friday. So if this happened, a lot more people would see snow, but that doesn't mean that this would become like a more major snowstorm. And if we want to pull out the, honestly, I'm gonna show you guys the previous run of the HRRR. It won't. I don't, actually, let me check if any other models have come in. Yeah. Let's look at the previous run of the HRRR to show you how it's trended. So the previous run of the HRRR was more of a ideal scenario for northern Jersey snowfall. If we look at the cyclogenesis, again, it's right here. It's right off Long Island. It's not as far east as like off east of Long Island. And when it comes inland, the forcing stays much closer to areas in North Jersey and the Poconos, so the heaviest snow is falling there. And the forcing overall stays pretty strong, so it gives decent snowfall amounts. If we want to look at the snowfall amounts out of this one, they're more than the previous model. Yeah, you can look at that, even more. Widespread 3 to 5 inches in Northwest Jersey. So yeah, so basically the track of this low pressure, which is yet to be determined, all models have not come across to a final solution for it. The track of this low pressure is extremely crucial to the snowfall. I cannot emphasize that enough. Depending on what track this takes, if it takes a further north track and starts off further east, then the Catskills going to get absolutely like blown apart. There's going to be like pretty high amount of snowfall in the northern parts of the Catskills, but Poconos will not get as much as they could, and northern Jersey is going to get like a fraction of what they could, only confined to the top mountains in that case. Because the idea is that it will get cold enough Thursday night in the basically north of 78, elevation above 500. I'm thinking that the temperature on Thursday night will be cold enough for snow at time, like during the night. It just depends on the forcing, right? And the forcing is determined by the path of low pressure. We need a path of low pressure that goes through the lower Hudson Valley and then comes over central Pennsylvania, or does whatever it does where it fills in. We want the path of the low pressure. We want the southwest side of the low pressure to be as close to North Jersey as possible to get a decent amount of snowfall out of this. That is the bottom line. Let's just look at the official forecast real quick. This is the official National Weather Service forecast. You can see highlighting the higher elevations with good snowfall amounts reaching nearly 3 inches, the high mountains. Same thing, high peak up here. High point up there. Same ridge, higher snowfall amounts. In the valleys, northwest valleys, just very trace amounts of snow, little to no accumulation. And Pocono Plateau, 8 inches plus. That's what they're highlighting. That's why we got a winter storm watch up there. Then the high-end forecast is bringing 1 inch. This is more of like a NAM 3 kilometer type setup where you have more of a widespread 1 inch, widespread 4 to 5 inches in Northwest Jersey, and then foot plus in the Poconos. So yeah, that's pretty much. I like the official forecast. It's just that I would say these ridges in North Jersey, I would probably bump them up a little because again, this depends on the track of the low, which is pretty uncertain. But still, I'm thinking they will get maybe potentially 4 inches of snow in the highest elevations of North Jersey, and I'd bring this trace line a bit further south because I feel like during the day on Friday, even if places don't get snow during Thursday night, Friday AM, during the day Friday we will have snow showers across the northwest area, which could bring just a coating of snow. So that's it for this storm. Even if you don't get snow out of this storm, do not despair. There is another storm on the way. That's not OZ, 18Z, during the Thanksgiving break time period. So this could be problematic for travel, but this is still a very low confidence situation. All right, do not take any. Literally, what I want you to get out of this is that there will be a storm during the Thanksgiving time frame. I'm thinking that there will be a decent storm because if we look at the NAO, right? NAO is predicted it could potentially drop quite a bit during that Thanksgiving time period, or it could just stay stable. There could potentially be no storm, but I'm leaning towards the storm potential with the NAO dropping. Same thing with the PNA. PNA is going to go towards more of a positive mode at that time period. And same thing with Arctic Oscillation. Arctic Oscillation is probably most pronounced. So we're going to have ample cold air during the Thanksgiving time period that could come down with the polar vortex slightly weakening. So I'll just give you an example of GFS with this. This is bringing quite the Miller B nor'easter. That's pretty widespread snow, pretty much north of 95. So if the Euro is also bringing a snowstorm like this on the 12Z run, uh, which is definitely something to look forward to. If this could materialize, this could definitely be something. This could first like November proper snowstorm for places in many years. Honestly, down even like uh, central Jersey, southeast Pennsylvania. If this does materialize, but again, take this with a grain of salt because the Canadian does not even show it. The Canadian does not even form it. Yeah, but I just wanted to like let you guys know that we will have some type of system coming in the Thanksgiving break, and there will be pretty strong cold air behind that system. So we have the ingredients set for a potential snowstorm. We just need to see how it could play out. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you learned something. And yeah, let's just go back to the winter weather forecast. I'm thinking, yeah, 78 north. I'm thinking snow. Pennsylvania, even further south, there could be snow. Jersey, 78 north. Snow will fall out of the sky. And northwest Jersey, mountains, good amount of snow. Valleys, it all depends on the low pressure track.